The alien fleet's flagship lands on Earth's surface, believing the planet to be vulnerable. However, what they do not know is that humanity has one final, devastating weapon. As the flagship touches down, the ground beneath it trembles, and a gargantuan war machine, humanity's last surprise, rises from the depths. The aliens are about to learn the true meaning of Earth's power. The alien flagship descended toward Earth, its massive hull casting a shadow over the land below. The Earthlings had made no attempt to defend themselves. The quiet planet, it seemed, had given up. The silence, once their greatest weapon, had now become their grave mistake. The flagship's landing gear touched the Earth's surface with a deep, resonating thud. Inside, the alien commanders braced for the final moments of their victory. The battle had been brutal. The Earth had responded with unexpected strength, but the flagship's arrival on their planet was the final step in their conquest. Soon, humanity would be forced to submit. Prepare to deploy, the commander muttered, his voice dripping with arrogance. This will be the last time we need to show them mercy. Outside, the flagship loomed, a testament to the alien empire's might. The troops inside the vessel began to mobilize, preparing for their next phase: control, suppression, victory. The aliens had underestimated Earth's defenses, but now they would prove once and for all that humanity's resistance was futile. As the hatch opened, the alien forces poured out, marching in tight formation. The Earthlings had no army to speak of, just remnants of a once proud civilization. The aliens would crush them, make an example of them, and then proceed to the next conquest. But as the alien troops marched across the barren land, the ground began to tremble beneath their feet. The soil vibrated with an intensity that made the air thick with tension. The soldiers halted in confusion, glancing around nervously. "What is this?" one of the alien officers asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. "A seismic disturbance?" The trembling grew more intense, and the soldiers' confusion turned to fear. The ground cracked open before them, sending dust and debris into the air. A colossal shape emerged from the earth, rising like a behemoth from the depths. The alien officers stared in awe and terror as the massive war machine, humanity's Leviathan, rose into the sky. "Impossible," one of the aliens whispered. This wasn't part of their technology. The Leviathan was a colossal, ancient war machine hidden beneath the surface of Earth. Built eons ago, it had remained dormant, waiting for the moment when humanity would need it the most. Now the silence of Earth had ended, and the Leviathan rose to protect its home. Its massive arms swung, tearing through the air like great metallic giants. Its guns powered up, crackling with energy. The alien forces scrambled to retreat, but it was too late. The Leviathan was not simply a weapon. It was a force of nature, one that humanity had kept hidden for this very moment. The Earth had not been defenseless, it had only been waiting. The aliens, so sure of their victory, had missed the one thing. They could not understand Earth's deepest secret, the Leviathan. One of the alien commanders, standing frozen in fear, watched as the Leviathan's enormous cannon powered up. He opened his mouth to speak, but the words died in his throat as the first blast of energy shot forward, vaporizing the front line of alien troops in an instant. The shockwave from the blast sent alien soldiers flying, their screams echoing in the distance as the ground around them was torn apart. The flagship's hull groaned, its enormous structure unable to withstand the sheer force of the Leviathan's power. The alien commander's voice trembled as he shouted orders to retreat, but it was no use. Their weapons were useless against such a force. The Leviathan was unstoppable. Fall back, the commander screamed, but the order was lost in the chaos of destruction. The flagship's engines flared to life, but the mighty war machine continued its onslaught, its massive fists pounding the earth, sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. As the last of the alien troops scrambled to escape, the Leviathan moved forward, relentless in its pursuit. The alien fleet, once poised to conquer Earth, was now in full retreat. Humanity's silent defense had been a ruse, a tactic that had lured them in, and now they were paying the price. The alien commander watched helplessly as his flagship was torn apart, the Leviathan's weapons cutting through its hull like a hot knife through butter. His eyes filled with disbelief and terror as the once imposing alien empire crumbled in the face of Earth's unseen power. And that, the alien commander whispered in disbelief, was before Earth even responded. The alien flagship once, a symbol of unstoppable power, now lay in ruins, the jagged remnants of its hull scattered across the barren Earth. The massive Leviathan, its towering form still rippling with residual energy, stood above the wreckage, its immense frame casting an ominous shadow over the alien invaders who had dared to land. The ground beneath it trembled with each step, as if the planet itself were warning them to retreat. But there would be no retreat. "Commanders, fall back to the reserve fleet," the alien leader barked, his voice trembling with fury. "We will not be defeated here. This planet shall fall one way or another." His words were not just a rallying cry. They were the last vestiges of the Empire's arrogance. They had lost, and they knew it, but they could not admit it. The pride of the alien empire was at stake. They had underestimated Earth, thought them too weak to fight back, and now they were facing the consequences. Yet the alien council refused to bow. They had conquered galaxies before. Earth would be no different. The remaining alien ships hovered over Earth, their weapons primed and their engines ready. The survivors of the battle, who had seen their comrades torn apart by the Leviathan's devastating weapons, were now filled with a mixture of rage and terror. They had never faced a foe like this, an enemy that had not only withstood their might, but had struck back with a vengeance that could obliterate entire fleets. "We need reinforcements," the alien strategist muttered to himself as he surveyed the battlefield. "If we do not defeat this creature, Earth will be beyond our reach. It will dominate the galaxy." As the alien ships began to regroup, Earth's defenses stood firm. The Leviathan's colossal form loomed large against the skyline, the weaponry of humanity's greatest secret now fully unleashed. It was clear that Earth was not just defending itself, it was preparing to take control of the battle. And in that moment, the alien commanders knew they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Meanwhile, inside the Earth's command center, Commander Jackson stood with his hands clasped behind his back, gazing at the holographic battlefield. The Leviathan, having decimated the alien flagship, was now moving forward, ready to engage whatever remained of the alien fleet. The tides of battle had shifted, but Jackson knew that the war was far from over. Earth's defenses had proved more powerful than expected, but the aliens would not go down without a fight. "We've hit them hard, but they're not done yet," Jackson said, his voice steady. "They've regrouped, and they're coming for us with everything they have." A lieutenant at the control panel nodded, her fingers flying over the console. "Sir, the alien fleet is deploying a secondary wave. They're setting up for an all-out offensive." Jackson turned to face her. "How many ships are we dealing with?" 5 dozen, she said, her voice tight with concern. "But they're not just throwing everything they have at us. They're using new tactics, trying to overwhelm our systems by spreading out and attacking in waves." Jackson's mind raced. The aliens had learned from their previous mistakes. They knew their previous assault hadn't worked, and now they were trying a different approach. This would be a fight to the bitter end. "We need to focus fire on their lead ships," Jackson ordered. "We can't let them gain any ground." As the orders were transmitted, Jackson turned his gaze back to the Leviathan. It had already taken down an entire fleet, but could it hold up against this new assault? He had no doubt in the Leviathan's power, but this battle was becoming more than just a test of weaponry. It was about breaking the enemy's will. Back in the alien command center, the Council watched as their remaining fleet began to prepare for the final assault. The leader of the alien council stood at the head of the table, his face hard and unyielding. "Now is our moment," he said. "We must strike while the Leviathan is still vulnerable. Our forces may have been decimated, but we still have the firepower to finish what we started." One of the younger council members, a strategist known for his sharp mind, stepped forward, his expression grim. "We've already lost most of our ships. The remaining fleet is too scattered, and the Leviathan is not the only threat. Earth's defenses have adapted. Their weapons are more advanced than we anticipated." The council leader's gaze narrowed. "I did not come this far to lose. We will fight to the last ship." He turned to the tactical officer. "Activate our remaining fleet's full power. If we cannot destroy them, we will at least leave them with a message they will never forget." As the battle raged on, the atmosphere on Earth grew heavy with anticipation. The air crackled with tension as humanity's final weapon, the Leviathan, moved forward to engage the alien fleet head-on. The ground shook with every movement, and the energy emanating from the beast lit up the sky. Commander Jackson stood on the bridge, watching as the alien ships advanced. The screen showed their movements in real time, the red dots of alien forces pressing in from every direction. "Fire everything we've got," Jackson ordered. "We're not letting them win this." The Leviathan's cannons roared, sending waves of energy crashing into the advancing alien fleet. The battle was fierce. Alien ships fought back with all their might, but Earth's forces, powered by the Leviathan, fought with unyielding resolve. As the battle reached its climax, Jackson's words echoed across the command deck. "They thought." It was mercy. It wasn't. The battle raged on above Earth. The once proud alien fleet, though severely weakened, continued to press on, launching wave after wave of desperate attacks. The sky shimmered with the energy from weapons as both sides clashed in an epic struggle for supremacy. On Earth, the Leviathan, towering and unyielding, continued to tear through the remnants of the alien forces, its massive guns firing in unison, obliterating anything in its path. But despite its overwhelming power, the alien fleet was proving to be a more resilient opponent than expected. "We've got incoming. Multiple ships attempting to surround the Leviathan," shouted Lieutenant Daniels, his face tense as the holographic map flickered with the movements of the alien fleet. "They're trying to get behind it." Commander Jackson's eyes narrowed, his grip tightening on the armrest. "Don't let them. Use everything we have." The command went out to every Earth warship. "Deploy all defense systems, focus fire on the alien ships attempting to close in on the Leviathan." Earth's forces had taken heavy casualties, but they were far from defeated. The strategic advantage of the Leviathan, humanity's ultimate weapon, was still intact, and they would not lose it without a fight. The Leviathan, now surrounded by the alien fleet, unleashed a devastating barrage. Its massive cannons fired again, each shot splitting the air with a thunderous roar. Alien ships exploded in bursts of light as Earth's defense systems sliced through their ranks. The tide of battle shifted with each second, the alien fleet faltering under the sheer destructive power of Earth's might. But the alien fleet wasn't finished yet. The remaining alien ships, realizing that they could not take the Leviathan head-on, shifted their tactics. They formed a coordinated perimeter around the war machine, each ship moving in perfect unison to block the Leviathan's path. A plan to box the monster in, suffocating it before it could break free. "We've got to stop them before they trap it," Lieutenant Daniels barked, sweat beading on his forehead. "Their perimeter is forming too quickly." Jackson's mind raced. The aliens had learned quickly, adapting their tactics to counter Earth's surprise weapon. This would be their last chance. If they didn't break through the alien blockade, Earth's greatest weapon would be neutralized. "Send in the reserves. We'll make a breach in their perimeter." Jackson's voice was cold with determination. He turned to his crew. "This is our last chance. We need to break them now." The final reserve ships, previously hidden in Earth's upper atmosphere, engaged at full force, flying through the gaps in the alien fleet's defenses. Their weapons fired in perfect synchronization, creating a shockwave of energy that cut through the alien ships like a scythe through wheat. The alien fleet, once so proud, began to disintegrate piece by piece. Above the shattered remains of the alien fleet, the alien council watched in despair. The once unshakable empire, feared and respected across the stars, was now crumbling before the force of humanity's unexpected power. The alien leader stood at the center of the council, his once proud gaze now clouded with defeat. "We have no chance," one of the council members whispered, his voice hoarse from the strain. "Earth's power is beyond our comprehension. We are nothing against them." The council leader remained silent for a moment, the weight of his failure settling in. They had thought Earth weak, its silence an admission of defeat. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. But still, the leader did not yield. "We are not finished yet. The Leviathan may be a threat, but we have other weapons, other tactics. We will not surrender." "Commander, we can't keep up," the second-in-command said, fear creeping into his voice. "Our ships are falling. Earth is too strong. We cannot win this." The council leader's hands clenched. He had come too far to let his empire fall. "Prepare. The final weapon," he ordered, his voice steely. "If we cannot win with strength, we will break them with terror." The alien fleet began to move, but this time they were preparing for something far more catastrophic than simple weapons. Back on Earth, the battle had reached its peak. The Leviathan stood tall, its weapons firing relentlessly as it tore through the alien forces. But Jackson could sense something was wrong. The alien fleet was not retreating. They were positioning themselves in a formation unlike anything Earth had seen before. "They're trying something," Jackson muttered, eyes narrowing. "Brace for impact." Suddenly, the sky above Earth shimmered as a new energy signature appeared, one unlike any Earth systems had encountered. The alien fleet had activated a massive weapon, one that dwarfed anything they had used before. The massive beam fired, cutting through space like a blade, heading straight for Earth. The Leviathan raised its shields in a desperate attempt to block the attack, but the beam tore through them with ease, slamming into the heart of Earth's defenses. For a moment, everything was still. The ground below Jackson's feet shook with the power of the blast. Earth's defense grid flickered, its systems overloaded by the sheer intensity of the alien weapon. Jackson's heart raced. They had pushed back the alien fleet before, but now they faced something far worse. "Lieutenant," Jackson shouted, "how's the Leviathan holding up?" The lieutenant checked the systems, her face pale. "The Leviathan's shields are down. Its energy reserves are dangerously low." Jackson's fists clenched in frustration. The alien fleet was about to strike the final blow, and if Earth didn't act fast, they would lose everything. As the alien weapon prepared to fire again, Jackson's voice rang out through the command deck. "We won't back down. Earth's resolve will hold." With a final massive blast from the Leviathan's core, the alien weapon's energy was shattered. The shockwave that followed obliterated the remaining alien ships. The battle had reached its end, and humanity had won. The battle was over. The once mighty alien fleet, once thought to be invincible, had been shattered, broken by Earth's unexpected force. The Leviathan, humanity's last line of defense, stood victorious on the battlefield, its massive frame still crackling with the energy from the final assault. The last remnants of the alien ships burned in the atmosphere, their structures torn apart by the unrelenting barrage of energy. On Earth, the ground still trembled from the force of the battle, the air heavy, with the scent of ozone and destruction. Commander Jackson stood at the helm of his warship, eyes fixed on the holographic display. His crew, exhausted and battered from the fight, looked to him for guidance. "It's done," Jackson said, his voice a mixture of relief and disbelief. "We've won. A wave of quiet relief swept through the command center, but Jackson knew that this victory wasn't just about defeating an enemy, it was about changing the course of history. Earth had proved itself not only capable of defending itself, but of dismantling an empire that had thought itself invincible. The alien fleet, the pride of a vast empire, was no more. Yet even as the celebration began, Jackson's thoughts turned to the future. The alien fleet may have been destroyed, but the galaxy was vast, and the battle had only just begun. Earth had made its mark, but would others come for them next? Would the galaxy accept Earth's newfound power, or would they see it as a threat? On the alien command ship, the council leader stared out at the decimated fleet, his face a mask of anger and disbelief. The reports from the battlefield were pouring in, confirming what he already knew: the battle was lost. The alien empire, once the dominant force in the galaxy, was now nothing more than a shadow of its former self. Earth's defense grid, the Leviathan, had torn through their forces with terrifying precision. "We underestimated them," one of the council members muttered, his voice filled with disbelief. "How could we have been so blind?" The council leader remained silent for a long moment, the weight of their failure pressing down on him. They had expected Earth to cower, to fall in the face of their superior technology. Instead, humanity had done the impossible. They had turned the tide of the war, and now the empire was on the brink of extinction. "We were too arrogant," the council leader finally said, his voice quiet but filled with bitterness. "We thought Earth was weak, that their silence meant surrender, but they have shown us otherwise." The younger council members, their faces filled with frustration and fear, looked to their leader. "What do we do now?" one of them asked, his voice strained. "How do we rebuild?" The council leader looked up, his gaze steely and resolute. "We survive, we rebuild, and we wait. The galaxy is vast, but Earth's power has made it clear. They will no longer be ignored. We'll have to find a way to deal with them." But even as he spoke, the truth hung heavy in the air. The alien empire had been defeated by a force they could never have predicted. And now Earth would be the one to shape the future. Back on Earth, the leaders of humanity gathered to discuss their next steps. The victory had been hard won, but it was clear that this was just the beginning. The galaxy had seen Earth's strength, and now the galaxy would have to reckon with the planet that had once been ignored. The silence that had defined humanity for so long was over. They had shown their power, and they would not go quietly back into the shadows. Commander Jackson stood before the council, his face solemn but determined. "We've proven ourselves today, but we can't rest on our laurels. We've made enemies, and there are forces out there that will seek to challenge us. But we've shown them what Earth can do, and we will continue to show them." The leaders nodded, a shared understanding passing between them. Earth was no longer just a planet in the galaxy. It was a force, a power that had to be reckoned with. "Humanity's silence is over," Jackson said, his voice firm, "and now the stars belong to us." As the galaxy looked on, one thing was certain: Earth's era had begun, and it would not be a silent one. The future was uncertain, but Earth's place in it was undeniable. The silence had ended, and the galaxy would never be the same.